well is because we want the best and we partner with the best, and so it's a real privilege to be able to partner with one of the most respected names, certainly in the industry worldwide, as somebody that's recognizable. Is Mr. Mark McDonald. So,
I'm
Mark, you
here,
there?
Mr. Stevie Jones, and I love how you call it the Core Challenge family. That's what it's about. Everyone, let's give Steve a massive hand because he got his visa from Canada and he's in the U.S. and he's rocking the U.K. as well. So, Stevie, you excited about that, my friend?
I am a very happy bunny right now. Let me tell you that. So, yeah, it's good to see my family a bit more now.
Well, Stevie, anytime that I can spend more time with you, I'm excited. So I just, we're all giving you, we all love you, we all appreciate all you do. So, Core Family, Steve said it. We're like week 5 in. And as we ran an 8-week run before we launched the Core Challenge, and many of you are repeating this, we're seeing this nonstop momentum grow. And before we dive into the content and I share some of the stuff and some cutting edge information and the theme of this week, I'm going to share a little funny story with you. So I was sitting at a friend's house over the weekend, and one of his friends were eating a big bag of chips. And if you know me, hey, if you want to go off plan, go off plan. Just like we talked about the restaurants last week, if you want to go for it, go for it. But I saw he was a father and he was eating a bag of Doritos. And just envision, all of us, sitting on the couch eating some Doritos. And then his 9-year-old son, one of Hunter's friends, walked up to him and said, "Hey, Daddy, can I have some Doritos?" And he said, "No, no, no. Why don't you have some apples instead?" And he handed him some fruit. So he's eating Doritos, and he wants his 9-year-old to eat fruit. Now I get that we want our kids to be healthier, but the point I want to just drive home is, as I've been in this industry for a long, long time, it's about, you can't do as I say, not as I do. That at the end of the day, all of this starts with you. Your actions will lead others. So if you're eating Doritos, then that means it's okay for other people to eat Doritos, and times it is. But if you're eating something or you're doing something and you want someone else to do something different, the way that you in your mind think it should be done, but you're not willing to do it, there's a mismatch there. So just make sure and I know I'm preaching the choir because you're all rocking it, but just remember, as you're leading this, as we talk about week 5 and making this your 8-week run and rocking the Core Challenge and 8 weeks and beyond, that this is something that you want to ingrain within yourself, that you make this a lifestyle. And that's exactly what we did on my HLN series that we kicked off. Our next series, which we just launched yesterday, was Get It Back in Gear Mondays. And the whole theme each and every week, just like this webinar, is to provide nuggets of information, education, inspiration, motivation to keep you going. And what we did is we featured Kelly Benamo. And I shared Kelly last week, how she dropped 30 pounds in 8 weeks. And the quote I love that Kelly said on the show yesterday was, "I did it right this time." See, Kelly dropped 140 pounds in the past. She dropped 140 pounds. And she did it through deprivation. And what happened is, as diets attack us, they attacked her when she was at her weakest moment. She starved herself, dropped the weight, but then the weight came back. And when the weight came back, she started gaining back, creeping back. She gained back 40 of the pounds. And then she got frustrated because she didn't want to go back to starving herself. And that's when she chose to take on her 8-week run and drop 30 pounds. And now if you watch the segment that we just on my Facebook page, in the Core Challenge page I posted in the group, you'll see the inspiration. But she said, "I did it right this time." And that's what this is about. Not do as I say, not as I do. You lead by example. The transformation starts with you. And Kelly Benamo leads by example. On Headline News, on our series, we are looking for your story. Throughout the 8-week transformation challenge, we featured Kelly and Mark Timmerman. Amazing story. Kim Mossamum and her gym that dropped over 600 pounds. Kelly Benamo, as I shared. Joey Stevens, who just posted today that she's down 40 pounds and 26 inches. Javier and Pavela Solis are going to be featured in the upcoming weeks. Jen Fleischer and her gym will be featured in the upcoming weeks. We want your story to be featured on Headline News, along with all the recipes. National media, so your example, you leading by example, inspires others to take action. So your theme, before we go into the content, I just want you to remember throughout this entire process that it all starts with you. Everything starts with you. And as you go, as you lead, people will join you along the way, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's your children, whether it's a community. You will spread the power of teaching people how to do it the right way, just like Kelly Bonham was doing now. Okay, that's your inspiration for the moment. Now let's move on to what we're talking about tonight. So, many times I say, it's not what you eat, it's what you metabolize. And we are going to focus on mastering your sleep. Now, before we dive into any of that, I want everyone to rate their sleep. So get your pen and paper out, and 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I want you to rate the quality of your sleep, not the quantity as much. Could be both, but the quality. So right now, think about it. Are you a 4? Are you a 5? Do you feel refreshed every day? Do you feel fatigued every day? Are you like a hybrid of that? So rate that right now. Now, my goal at the end of this webinar is for you to master or start the process of mastering your sleep. And by the time we talk next Tuesday night, you're going to at least move up 1 notch. So if you're a 5, you'll become a 6. If you're a 7, you'll become an 8. If you're a 1, hopefully you become a 2, or at least a 1.5, at least 1% improvement. But the key is this. Your sleep is so crucial. In essence, without sleep, no matter what you do with your food and your exercise, your body just won't work. It's one of the key factors in you dropping your weight. Last week we talked about how to eat in restaurants, how to grocery shop, why you need your MRFK, and I love the interaction in the Core Challenge Facebook group, talking about their MRFK and what to do. And I posted it on Instagram. I posted a picture of me grocery shopping, about when I go shopping. I went shopping on Sunday with Abs and Hunter, and I showed my whole cart, and I had some new MRFKs that we got. And all that stuff I covered last week, if you're not sleeping, it just doesn't matter as much. Because you can eat right, you can exercise more, but if you don't sleep, most likely it's going to make you plateau, or possibly a lot of times make you gain weight. And let's dive into why that is. So the first thing that I shared, it's not what you eat, it's what you metabolize. Now, if you think about your body, I want you to, everyone, think of their cell phone. You might have your phone right by you. You might be watching this webinar on your phone. But as you have your phone's got a battery, right? And every night you charge it up, you use electricity. What happens one day when you forget to charge it? This happens to all of us, right? And you don't have a portable charger with you, and your phone runs out of juice, battery dies, and you're scrambling all day. Well, see, your body's got a battery too, and it's your adrenal gland. And sleep is your body's battery charger. So when you're not sleeping, you don't recharge. Now, unlike how your phone will just stop working, your body will keep working when you're fatigued. It just won't work as well. And this is what happens. It increases your levels of your stress hormone cortisol. Now, cortisol causes you to have belly fat. So when you have too much cortisol in your blood, you go into chronic stress, and then that causes an increase of body fat. So if you have some belly fat that you want to get rid of, feel it right now, touch your belly fat. Most times that's caused by excess cortisol, or one of the main reasons. It increases your appetite. You have to think about, why would lack of sleep increase my appetite? Well, the problem is what's food? It's energy. So every single time that you're in a state of sleep deprivation, your body's searching for energy. So it's searching more food, so that increases your appetite. You have a difficulty metabolizing carbohydrates, and not just carbohydrates, your entire digestive system is out of whack. So your body cannot process food as well, just like you are what you metabolize. Increased cortisol level, more food, you can't metabolize as well. It causes the decreased level of your insulin as well. Now, insulin is your blood sugar hormone that lowers your blood sugar by helping you metabolize your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fats. So when you start looking at the big picture of this, now you're starting to see the root of just why, when you're not sleeping well, instead of just charging your battery, what the negative effects are to you achieving your results. When you started your 8-week run, when you started the Core Challenge, you had a vision. We talked about your actions meeting your expectations and making sure that you were able to achieve those goals. And through these weekly coaching sessions, my goal with you is to help you understand all the little pitfalls, all the little things that you have to be aware of. So as you talked about restaurants and grocery shopping and MRFK last week, now, this week, as you continue building this momentum, is we got to get your sleep rocking. So what I want to share with you in the next 2 slides are what your sleep cycles are and some strategies that you're going to be able to implement immediately within this week that's going to improve that number, that sleep number, to take it to get as close to 10 as possible. First thing is this. I want you to call yourself the power of 90. So write it down, scream it out loud right now, power of 90. Your sleep cycles are 90 minutes. And there's multiple stages through this. And this is just, it's important that you understand your sleep, because as I share some of the strategies, you're going to see how by not adjusting some of these strategies, your quality of sleep may not be there. I worked with many people with autoimmune challenges. Had a client named Amber, and she had a chronic fatigue syndrome. And many people with autoimmune challenges is they have a hard time sleeping. And they might sleep for 8 to 9 to 10 hours, but their quality of sleep is not there. They might get the quantity, but if you're not getting these other later stages of sleep, your body's not working. So let's walk through the 5 stages. Stage 1, that's that twilight sleep. So you close your eyes, you start going, that's the first 5 to 10 minutes. Stage 2 is the light sleep. What it's doing, it's preparing your body for deep sleep. Now I want you to look at stage 3 and 4 as deep sleep, and just write this down or remember it. Deep sleep recharges your body, your muscle tissue, all that exercise you're doing, it charges your body. Where REM sleep charges your mind. Okay, now REM is called rapid eye movement, and it's your dream state. So the way it works is stage 1 and 2 prepare your body for sleep. Stage 3 and 4 is deep sleep that charges your body, and REM sleep charges your mind. It's kind of like a file cabinet. Now the problem is this, when I talked about my client Amber, is a lot of people with autoimmune challenges, they have a hard time maintaining deep sleep, and they have a lot of soft tissue pain. I lived this with my wife Abby. There's certain strategies she has to do every single night. If not, her quality of sleep is greatly affected. And if she can't get in deep sleep, guess what happens? Her body can't repair itself. Body doesn't work well. So these are the stages. This is your 90-minute cycles, and then what happens? It repeats itself. So all throughout the night, it's repeating this 90-minute, the power of 90. From stage 1 to stage 2 to light to deep to REM. Okay, now once you understand the cycles, now it makes it easier to understand the strategies. So 5 strategies you're going to focus on. So just write the number 5 down right now on a piece of paper and think to yourself, these are the 5 things that I'm going to master this week. These are the things that are going to prove and make my power of 90 that much better, because the whole theme this week is mastering your sleep, not just quantity, but quality. The first thing is you got to set a schedule. Now, many of you might have kids, some of you may not, but I know all of you were once a baby. And what we know as parents, or as when we were kids, is that the better our sleep schedule is, the more consistent we are, and the better we're in rhythm. So kids typically, they go to bed at a particular time and they wake up at a particular time. My friend Yvette has 3 kids, and she has a baby. And her baby, Hunter was swimming over her house and swimming with her 2 boys, and her daughter, who I believe is now 15 months, it was 8 p.m. I said, Yvette, where's Isabella? She said, oh, she's sleeping. I said, does she wake up? No, she prepares for sleep at 7, goes to bed at 8, and then she sleeps for 12 hours. And she's on that set schedule. And what Yvette did is, when she was a newborn, is she created the schedule. Your body works better with the schedule. So basically what you have to do is you have to say, okay, you have to first know the amount of hours you need. Now, in a perfect world, you might need 7 hours, you might need 8 hours, you might need 6 hours. Sleep is genetic. So based upon how deep of a REM sleep you get or deep sleep you get, you might be able to get better sleep. Like I can sleep deeper and require less sleep than my wife Abby, because she doesn't go in the same level of deep sleep that I do. A lot of times, you probably fall in one of these categories. A pin drops and you wake up, or a feather drops and you wake up, or you can sleep through a snowstorm or a hailstorm or a break-in. So you sleep like the dead, or you wake up at the drop of a pin. So whatever it is, wherever, or you fall somewhere in between that spectrum, that determines the amount of quality, the amount of hours you need. I need less hours than my wife Abby, so sleep is genetic. And a great book, if you want to read more about sleep, is written by Dr. James B. Moss called Power Sleep. So once you know the hours, you got to think to yourself, when I sleep 7 hours or 8 hours or 6 hours, I feel amazing. Okay, so start with that number. Now you set your schedule. So you have to go to bed at the same time each night and then wake up at the same time each morning. Now you might say to myself, Mark, there's no way I'm waking up at the same time each day for every day. And I get that. Or go to bed at the same time each day. So this is what happens. Let's say it's Saturday night and you're Stevie Jones, because Steve likes to party a little bit, and he's partying one night long, and he goes to bed. He's normally goes to bed at 11, and he needs 7 hours of sleep. Goes to bed at 11, wakes up at 6. Let's say Stevie Jones goes to bed at, guilty as charged, he said. Let's say that he wakes up at, he goes to bed at 1 a.m., and typically he'd want to sleep in. But ideally what he needs to do is still wake up at his normal wake time of 6 a.m., and he can make up those 2 hours of sleep the following night or the night after. So your sleep can be made up. So when you look at your sleep schedule, you want to know the hours of sleep you need, the time you go to bed, the time you wake up, and if you stay up late one night, just make sure you still wake up at the same time and just go to bed a little bit earlier the following night or the night after to make that sleep up. So number one is you set a sleep schedule. Number two, I know this is a tough one for you guys. Get your hammer out and break your snooze button. I talked about your sleep cycles. Do you know that one of the biggest attributing factors to people having a lack of quality of sleep is their snooze button? How many times have you hit your snooze button and stayed in bed for another 30 to 45 minutes? My hand's up. Most of us have done that, right? Or longer. Well, the problem with your snooze button is once you hit it, you're only staying in stage 1 and 2. This is why I talked about the sleep cycles. You're only in light sleep. Light sleep does nothing for your body. Deep sleep charges your body. REM sleep charges your mind. So if you're not getting in deep sleep and you're not getting in REM sleep, it's not productive sleep. It's a waste of time. So when you hit that snooze button, every moment, every second you're sleeping after that is wasted sleep. So imagine this. Instead of laying in bed, just set your alarm 30 minutes later. Now you're going to get 30 minutes of more quality sleep. So you're not having to sleep more. You're just doing better. Now, if you say, well, Mark, I like to have a little bit more of relaxation time in bed, just don't count that as sleep, because too many times people count after the snooze button as sleep. Just know that everything after the snooze button is not sleep. So you either extend the snooze button or you just don't use the snooze button. Right when the alarm goes off, you get up. Okay, so set your schedule, resist the snooze button. Number 3, you sleep in a quiet and dark environment. Once you imagine or picture when the lights are out, probably get a little more sleepy at nighttime, right? Why is that? Well, your sleep hormone is melatonin, and melatonin is released in a dark environment. When the light's on, it's not released, it's inhibited. So when the light's on, you don't release as much of your sleep hormone. When the light's off, you release your sleep hormone. So that's why you need a dark environment. A quiet environment goes back to the cycles. If I go back to the previous slide, you go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4 to REM to repeat. So after your power of 90, you go back into light sleep. If you're sleeping with the TV on and you're watching SportsCenter or some movie like The Walking Dead, the TV show, we love The Walking Dead, and you got zombies all crazy, and that wakes you up in the middle of the night, like once you enter light sleep again, you're going to wake up. And it's going to be harder to go back into sleep, because remember, the theme is mastering your sleep, not about quantity, but about quality. So you need a quiet environment so that as you re-enter light sleep, stage 1, you're not going to wake up. Now, what you can do, and many of you might say, well, Mark, listen, I need a TV to sleep on and shut my mind down. I get that. So put your TV on a remote. They all have an internal remote now where it shuts itself off. Or if you need like a solid, steady noise, you could do like white noise. As long as it's one steady noise movement, then that won't, or vibration, then that won't wake you up from that side. So number 3 is you got to sleep in a quiet and dark environment. 4th thing is create proper downtime. How many of you, or when have you done this? You run all day. And then you expect to just go to sleep. And then your mind's racing as you're laying in bed. Go think back to that sleep schedule I used with my friend Yvette. She talked about Isabella, her daughter. 7 p.m. she does a downtime. 8 p.m. her daughter goes to sleep. She prepares for that hour, that downtime. We do that with kids all the time. We go take them up to the room for them to read. We give them a bath. We prepare their body. Think of your body. I'm a sport guy, so I'm an athlete. So I use that when I'm getting ready to play soccer or tennis. I do a warm up. I look at my morning as my warm up. I then play my match. I look at that as taking on the day, and then I cool down. That's after the game, as you do a cool down. Just like at the nighttime after work, you cool down, and then you rest. That's exactly how you need to look at your day. That you warm up, you take it on, and then you need to create proper downtime to prepare your body for the proper rest. So what is proper downtime? It's different for everybody. It could be watching TV. It could be reading a book. It could be listening to music. It could be taking a bath. It could be writing down your thoughts an hour before bed. If you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night with your mind racing, it's because you're not clearing your mind before you go to bed. And you don't want to do this right before bed. You want to do an hour before bed. So you want to create proper downtime. That's going to improve your quality of sleep. And then the fifth thing, and I know this isn't relevant because we're in the ignite phase, but you got to ditch the booze as you enter your thrive phase. Why is that? It goes back to the cycles. With alcohol, my clients, I had a client, Charlotte, who said, Mark, drinking helps me go to bed. I'm not questioning whether drinking can help you or alcohol can help you fall asleep. The problem is that it's going to also wake you up because alcohol directly affects your sleep cycles. It interrupts how those stages work between 1, 2, 3, and 4. It interrupts the flow of it all. So ideally, you need to ditch the booze. So you don't want to use alcohol to fall asleep because it may help you fall asleep, but it's going to make you wake up and it's going to work against you in the quality of sleep. So that's when we look at these strategies. So this is going to be the goal for you this week. It's very simple. You're rocking. You've detoxed, you've ignited, you got your setup with your restaurants, grocery shopping, MRFK, you're loving your exercise, you're having fun with your food, everything's flowing, you're engaged in the community. But now we want to continue this trend so that it's not just your food and exercise, but we're looking beyond the moment because what I'm helping you do is I want you to understand all the eventual pitfalls that are in front of you and how lacking sleep can directly affect your results. So the 5 strategies are this. Besides, once you know the power of 90, because we're always working from the root of physiology, understanding that your adrenal gland is your body's battery. Now the 5 strategies, you set your schedule. So you start with the hours you need. Like Stevie Jones, he needs 11 p.m. he goes to sleep, wakes up at 6 a.m. That's set your schedule. You can make up your sleep if you stay up late one night. Still use the same wake time. Then you resist the snooze button. Push it off. Just extend that alarm 30 minutes later so you can get 30 minutes of quality of sleep. You sleep in a quiet and dark environment. The dark environment affects your hormone melatonin. The quietness allows you to stay in those power of 90-minute cycles. You create the proper downtime. So you have your cool down time and you enter sleep with your body rested, ready to take it on and master it. And you ditch the booze because that interrupts your sleep cycles. These are the strategies that I'd like you to implement starting tonight. And not just this week, but beyond. But what we want to focus on 1% at a time is I want you to look at the number that you rated your sleep. And now I want you to put up what you want that to be a week from now. So if you put a 5, and now you want it to be, let's say you want it to be a 7, I want you now, after this webinar, to lay out exactly how you plan on going from a 5 to a 7 this week with your sleep. And what I personally guarantee you is that you're going to feel better and your body's going to work better for you. Had a client, John, and John fought me on sleep. He was eating well, doing his exercise, and he said, Mark, look, I'm tearing it up. I'm good. My life is what my life is. I said, John, you're stuck at a plateau and you're frustrated that you can't lose that last bit of body fat. You're frustrated that your weight was not dropping anymore. I'm telling you, it's because of your sleep. Because your sleep's affecting your cortisol level, your stress levels are high, and that's making you hold fluid. If you implement these strategies, John, I guarantee you're going to burst through your plateau, and probably in about a week, you're going to drop 5 to 6 pounds just of that additional bloat you're holding from lack of sleep. He fought me week after week, and finally he said, okay, I'm frustrated. I'm going to take the coaching. I said, finally. took the coaching, he dropped 7 pounds in a week, and he became a believer about the power of sleep. You know, many times as Steve opened this up, is we forget about these things. We think about our food and our exercise and our supplementation and our water, and we forget about sleep. Where it's how your body recharges itself. So just like when you're looking at your cell phone, without electricity or without some type of way to charge that battery, your phone's not working. Same thing with your body. Look, we're week 5 in. Over halfway, we're past the hump week. When we look at a Wednesday, we're in the hump week. We're past the hump aspect of the 8-week core challenge. Rock this, make this happen, and make this week about owning everything you've learned up to this moment, and now mastering your sleep. Because with a powerful sleep schedule, with a powerful sleep environment, what you set yourself up with is the proper foundation to go way beyond 8 weeks. We're taking this 8 weeks beyond to thrive, just like Kelly Bonamo did with, as we featured on Headline News, I did it right this time. So we appreciate each of you. Please keep diving in to the Core Challenge community. And as always, as Stevie's going to come back on, he's going to talk about our FAQ that we're going to do on Facebook right after this webinar. But always remember, it's not doing as I say, not as I do. It's doing as I do. You are the example that sets everyone else. Your actions will lead others. Whether you love your actions or not, your actions are the driver to all of this. Together, we are inspiring people to take back control of their body and health. And always remember, the transformation starts with you. Get ready for next week, because guess what we're covering next week? Stress. How to minimize your stress. Master your sleep this week, and get ready to take your stress to a whole lower level next week. Mr. Stevie Jones, back to you, my friend.
I did it Mark's way. That should be the song that you play when you meet with these people that say, no, I know better. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Mark McDonald.